for the post-budget analysis. I'm Siddharth Zarabi from Business Today Television, and with me, two of the most important budget makers, Nitin Gupta, Chairman of the Central Board of Direct Taxes, and Sanjay Kumar Agarwal, Chairman of the CBIC. Welcome. Nitinji, you've been asked this question, and I'll come straight to the point. No changes in taxes. This was the big expectation. 2019 set the template. People had hoped in 2024 थोड़ी बहुत आप महंगाई से भी राहत देंगे and you will give some relief. You have done pretty much nothing as per what the consensus view is. Please defend this point of view.
See, this is interim budget. The Honorable Prime Minister as well as Honorable Finance Minister has talked about it, that it is interim budget, and then therefore not much has been done into this budget, but we know the expectations, we know what suggestions have been received, and we will be definitely working on them at this stage of the budget in the month of July. So, I hope I am able to convey the message that being the interim budget, we have not been able to look into those aspects, and those aspects will be duly taken into consideration, will be duly examined and vetted to take them forward.
Mr. Gupta has taken my second question, because I was going to ask him, can we keep our hopes alive for July, but you seem to have given us a very strong indication. But overall, given that tax buoyancy is significant, that it is clear that all the effort that the department and the government has put in for enhancing tax revenue collections, reducing leakages, all of that is bearing fruit. Does that mean that this higher tax collection will provide you the scope for any possible adjustment in the near future?
See, we have already came out with the new regimes, and tax rates for corporates were reduced to 15% and 22%. For individuals also, sweetened new regime was brought out in the last budget, and we will see the effect thereof in the current financial year. But if we see, the buoyancy is very fantastic. As of now, we are growing at 20% in the current financial year net. This is the net collection I am talking about after issuing refunds of around 2.78 lakh crore. So, the government has been conscious about that, and the growth rate pegged for us in the current financial year now in the revised estimates is around 17% over what we have achieved last year. So, we are in the blue sky territory where we are achieving new and new higher and higher collection figures, and in the next year also with the 13% growth in projected collections at 21.98 lakh crore. I think the entire this outcome is because of the efforts taken by the tax department to build a great trust between the taxpayer and the tax department.
And I am sure you will perhaps even cross that number. One of the questions that has come in, and before I go to CBIC, because I do not only want to do a direct tax conversation, is about that 15% lower corporate tax rate for new companies being set up by a certain date. As we understand, that particular 15% rate is available till the 31st of March this year.
2024.
Has it been extended?
No.
Okay, that's a headline. Why has it not been extended?
It's an interim budget, and the government may like to look into it in a more in an elaborate manner, could be, and see the effect of the scheme, and it could be discussed at the stage of the regular budget.
And what happens in the 3-month period? That will be like ad hoc period if a decision is taken?
No decision will be taken, because from the government side the decision is already out. But because our any scheme which is brought out is normally end of the financial year, so this in the interregnum period will not affect.
But you are ruling out an extension?
Extension has not been given as of now in the present format.
Okay, I understand that. Let me turn the attention of our conversation to the indirect tax part. There is more to discuss with you. So, one of the key things is on GST, and while decision making on the GST is with the Council of ministers, it is now a state and center body. It's very clear, and the finance minister made this point about the benefits of the GST that it has brought in. It has reduced the compliance burden. From the overall numbers and how GST collections have performed, do you think that all the pain points are now well and truly dealt with, and now GST will deliver the fruits that it was expected to?
I would like to mention that on GST side, there is a healthy growth in revenue, and in fact, the average revenue in the first 3 quarters of current financial year is rupees 1.66 lakh crores, and which is a growth of 12% over the previous year's corresponding period GST collections. And in this current financial year, in 3 months, it has crossed the collection figure of 1.7 lakh crores, and in the month of April, it was record high at 1.87 lakh crores, and in fact, in the month of January, the collection figures have come only today morning. It is 1.74 lakh crores, that second highest ever. So the healthy growth in GST revenues give us confidence that at the end of the year, the GST collections will be very robust. And as you mentioned about that, whether all pain points have gone. So because GST has been introduced just 6 years back, and it's an ongoing journey. So lot of issues have been proactively taken up by the GST Council. More than 200 clarifications have been issued.
Absolutely.
To bring the clarity in collection and uniformity. So that is the way the collection has to happen, and that is the way tax department should function.
One of the important points, and viewers, 10 years of Modinomics office, 6 years in GST, and a lot of heavy lifting in the initial days. And this, I want you to explain this, because it's the budget has also said that for the states, the tax buoyancy has gone up to 1.22 after the GST rollout versus 0.72, because there are questions about state finances and the whole issue of state and central relations. Explain this to our viewers. Does it mean that GST has delivered much bigger benefits for the states, which are the real powerhouse of India's economy?
As about the GST, we say that one nation, one market, one tax. Basically, GST has integrated the entire country tax administration. So what has happened that earlier there used to be states were working in silos, and there was hardly any data exchange between the states. But with GST, now there is a central repository of data, and there is seamless flow of ITC. So to comply, the life has become much easier for the taxpayers. That is also leading to lot of voluntary.
टैक्स की चोरी भी कम हो गई है संजय जी?
टैक्स की चोरी में डेफिनेटली फर्क पड़ा है. उसके लिए पीछे कई सारे रीजंस हैं, जैसे कि आपका लाइक that now the voluntary compliance is being encouraged and everything is online. So taxpayers are also finding that they cannot escape.
But is there still leakage in overall GST, and does it also require more behavioral change in terms of taxpayers and also perhaps for the department itself?
Yeah, in GST, lot of processes have been changed, lot of simplification have been done, and lot of sequential filing of returns have been ensured, and this process is ongoing process. And with these kind of changes which have been brought in return filing and the deep data mining which is being done by the department using the data analytics tools, so that everything is ensuring that now taxpayers know that if they evade the tax, they will be caught someday.
So viewers, income tax you can't escape. Mr. Nitin Gupta sitting on my right, संजय जी indirect taxes sitting on the left, बीच में हम आम आदमी फंसे हुए हैं. It is not possible because of the tax net, but it leads to good results. Sanjay ji, on a more serious note, why did the import duty changes with regard to mobile phone components happen a day before the budget? I mean, you could have just waited 24 hours. Explain the rationale behind it. I'm just very curious about that.
I can mention about that, the rate rationalization which has happened in case of mobile parts. It was not part of budgetary exercise. There were certain disputes on the mobile parts, and those were leading to litigation. To avoid that litigation, government has rationalized the rate, and the rate which is there on mechanics and die cast parts. So that now have been reduced from 15% to 10%, so that there is no further disputes on the issue. And with this rationalization, I think industry has welcomed it, and that is the way it has been brought in due course. It was not part of the budgetary exercise.
Okay, fair point. I want to go back to Mr. Gupta. One of the other bits is certain tax benefits being extended to startups from March 2025. Provide the details that you can at this stage. What is this measure aimed for? Is it part of continuing to bolster the Startup India story?
Yeah, that the sunset was on 31st March 24, and the startups have been very important for us, and Honorable Prime Minister is always encouraging, and this is the right environment has been provided for that. And to continue with that, we have continued with the scheme till 31st March 25. So, scheme remains the same, the same legislation is the same, and it is extended only for one more year.
Okay, so when it comes to the concessional rate of tax for new companies set up after the announcement in 2019, for now the clause ends 31st March 2024, but for startups it's been done. One of the other things, and this is for the common man, is the statement by the Finance Minister about average processing time coming down from 93 days to 10 days. What does this mean? Because sometimes in the clamor for tax slab changes and tax rate changes, some of the other ease of paying tax changes get overlooked, Mr. Gupta.
As I have initiated the talk about the confidence, development of confidence between the taxpayer and the tax department, and this is one of the important limb of that how much time are we taking to process the return of the taxpayer which he files, and consequent issue of refund to the taxpayer. So, there has been a drastic reduction in time taken, and you might have noticed that in the year 2021 as well 2022 as well as in 2023, we have not extended the date for filing of the return of income, and have been processing the return at very fast pace. Around 22% of the returns have been processed on the same day, and we have issued the refund. Now, we have switched to TIN 2 system, where all the banks are integrated, and therefore, the time taken for receipt of refund from our CPC to the taxpayer's bank account has reduced to 1 day, 1 working day, and at best 2 working
India
days.
amongst the few countries that can claim to do that. As we wind down the conversation, one quick point: you have withdrawn the pre-financial year 2010 disputed tax demand of 25,000 rupees. What is this aimed at? Is this a relief for small tax players who were caught up in small cases?
I think you have to understand it in the right perspective, is that the demand management is the overall thing where we are looking at whatever demand is on our books,
right?
And in what way we can either recover it or write it off, or in what way we can reduce it. So, these are our act came into existence from 61, 62, so demands could be of that era
so
as
it's
well.
a clean up, Mr. Gupta.
It's a clean up exercise to reduce the grievances which are generated on account of the old outstanding demand, where taxpayer says that I don't have the records now, even the department may not have the records.
So clearly this is also
there could
a
have
good
been the
relief
demand which has been paid by the taxpayer, there could be tedious mismatches. So, the attempt has been to again cleanse the books of the department of a smaller value, and we will come out with a scheme, we will come up with a scheme. Great. And do the needful in a very quick way.
One final question, last 30 seconds on the show with you, and this is to do with the success of the new tax regime. Last year I asked you this same question, right here I ask you today. From then to now, what has been the progress? How much of overall taxpayers have moved to the new regime?
Exactly, we will come to know on 31st July of this year, when the return
but
filing
leading
date
indicators,
ends.
some indications
But
from
we
you.
think around 55 to 60%, yes, will switch to new regime, because it is beneficial.
More than half, possibly up to 60% may switch to the new tax regime. Nitin Gupta, Mr. Agarwal, thank you very much for your time with us. Viewers, with that, it's a wrap. We'll continue with more interviews with our budget makers. Do stay tuned in, back after just a short break. Thank you.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today. Celebrate 32 years of leadership in business news with Business Today. From the groundbreaking AI cover of Sundar Pichai to PM Modi's exclusive on G20, we redefine headlines. Now our 32nd anniversary issue explores India 2029, the 5-year agenda with industry titans sharing exclusive insights. So, just BT it for unparalleled perspectives. Business Today, 32 years of leadership, innovation and business brilliance. Subscribe now.